Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Morales, and I am Director of Partnerships for LendSuite. I would like to welcome everyone to the first LendSuite Premier Partnership Program webinar. The goals of these webinars is to provide you with information on how to make your operation run smoother using proven vendors in the short-term lending industry. The plan is to do a webinar a month that will be in line with the seasonality of our industry. For the first one, we're going to focus on collections. Collections is a very important part of your business model, but it is also a part of the business model that can be very expensive and get you into trouble. Today, we're going to be talking with 3 premier partners to discuss different ways they can help you make more money during the collection season. Our first partner is TotalCollectR, and they have a software that specializes in automating the collection process. Next, we'll speak with VoApps to discuss ways to turn your outbound collection activity into an inbound money-making opportunity. The final partner is iAmber. We'll be discussing ways that direct mail can get you the results that you desire. All of these companies have a lot of experience in the collection industry, and I think today's webinar will provide you with some great ideas to help you during this collection season and make Collection 2023 the best one yet. First, I'd like to welcome Jordan Akins, Chief Executive Officer, and Todd Poindexter, VP of Client Success with TotalCollectR. Jordan, thank you for joining us today. You too, Todd.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, awesome. Before we dive into some juicy collection information, give me a little insight in what TotalCollectR actually does for lenders and servicers in this space.
Yeah, absolutely. So TotalCollectR is a virtual agent and debt negotiator. It is capable of doing everything that a human collection representative can do. It's omni-channel, so it is available. You can connect with your customers on a multitude of different channels, helping you get to payments quicker, faster, more cost-effectively than ever before. So TotalCollectR is a virtual collector and debt negotiator, ultimately.
Very interesting. Okay, so let's get into some juicy collection content here. It seems the collection industry hasn't evolved that much, and a lot of people are still doing the exact same things they've done over and over for the last 15 years I've been in the industry. Have you guys seen any changes?
It's kind of funny that you mentioned that. So, I've been doing collections for the last 17 years, and I've actually seen collections evolve a lot, actually. But what I haven't seen evolve, funny enough, are the people working in collections, lenders, collection agencies alike. It's kind of surprising. Many of them are following an old playbook. They think that hiring more people to collect their debts, building collection teams, outsourcing to third parties, making more phone calls, sending more letters, that is the answer to their collection problem. And really, that's what used to work. And those things don't work anymore. 40 to 45% of all of your payments are not agentless today or more, or greater, then you're underperforming. And a lot of companies are underperforming because they're not connecting with the customers on the channels that they prefer. They're not optimizing their communications. They're not adapting the technology that exists here in 2023. So, yeah, it's kind of funny you say that. We've seen collections evolve, but we've seen the people working within collections, the lenders and the collection agencies even, they're still following the same roadmap that used to work back in the 80s and the 90s and even the early 2000s. That doesn't work today.
Okay. Well, no, that's some great insight. And I agree. I see that all the time. You just seem to throw more agents at a situation. That's not always the best way to do it.
No,
all right. Now, I know when I was dealing in collections, the one thing that always kept me up at night was, getting in trouble. Have you seen anything with lenders getting in trouble and, maybe what they can do to avoid, any type of problems that come from collecting?
Yeah, so a lot of the things that we've seen is just a lot of it's staffing. And when you're talking about people, you're talking about people on the phones. You're not finding people that have a lot of collections experience out there that have been in collections, a collector on the phone for a long time. To your point, I've been in the industry for a long time too, or 15 years. I've yet to see a collector actually retire from collections. They've either quit, moved on, or done something else, or, they've been let go because they've said something wrong on the phone, So a lot of the things with staffing, first of all, is you have somebody on the phone, and every time there's a phone call made, you have the potential of somebody doing something wrong. Humans make errors and they have problems, have a bad day, had an argument before they got on the phones, that type of thing. And the other thing that we see is that, a lot of collection agencies or lenders or everybody that has their own collections department, when are they staffed the most? It's 9 to 5. When are people working? They're 9 to 5. So you need somebody that's out there collecting 24/7 for you. And that's one of the things that we can solve for, and have a tool that's actually collecting compliantly for you at all hours of the day, weekends, anytime that the actual customer wants to actually engage with you. So those are the things that we've seen out there. Is a lot of times it's human problems that happen, and that's what causes a lot of issues in these collections agencies and these collections departments.
No, that's some really good points there. So I mean, I don't know if you can share too much, but any things you might have seen lenders do wrong, or maybe some really dumb mistakes that really came back and haunted them down the road. Anything you guys give some tips and tricks there on really what to avoid?
Yeah, I'll jump in, and then Todd, maybe you have some points as well. But I think one of the biggest mistakes that I see lenders make is, going back to what Todd was saying just now, is they get the wrong people involved. One of the worst things that a lender can do is place a business with a third-party collection agent, the wrong third-party collection agency. A lot of lenders will, I've seen it time and again, they'll place with agencies that are undercapitalized. They'll place with agencies that are the representatives at those agencies are really commission driven. They'll say whatever needs to be said, whether it's the right thing to say or the wrong thing to say to collect the money. And not only does that open a whole compliance can of worms for the lender, but it also destroys completely the relationship that the lender had with that consumer. And over and above that, it tarnishes their reputation. And the same can be true as well for hiring the wrong people internally. First off, you're lucky if you can find people today. 1 in every 3 people statistically will hired for a collection representative position will actually make it longer than 90 days. Most of them quit or get fired within that time frame. So if you can even find the 3 people, it's so tough to find employees today that want to work at a reasonable rate of pay, that are going to show up every day and do a good job in collections. But you find the wrong people, and internally that can also be a problem. Would you agree with that, Todd?
Yeah, exactly. The thing is kind of back to my point before, is you have people on the phones that aren't trained, or you've taken so long to train them that you've missed the tax season or that hot time to collect money. So with collectors, there's always an issue, and there's always a problem with trying to get them trained and also getting them on the phones and saying the right things.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems to be a theme, through this conversation so far already, is that staffing is really key. Right. And, a lot of my customers have a pretty heavy staff from the busy season, and they think we just put them into collections. And from the sounds of it, that could be a problem because they're going to be trained up in time. So any ideas on how lenders can ramp up for these few months during collections, or what should they be looking to do to maximize this tax season?
Yeah, and say one of the things you can do is, find a tool that's available 24/7. You don't have to worry about ramping up staffing or trying to bring people in and training them and getting them ready for sometimes you have different talk-offs or different times of the year for things that are going on. You talk to people about that have borrowed money to go on vacation, or you talk to people that are trying to pay during tax season, that type of thing. And sometimes it's tough to get those folks trained, where if you have a system to where you can have it 24/7 that can talk to folks in a compliant manner, or answer on any channel that they want to communicate to you with. Not everybody wants to talk to somebody on the phone. Yeah. Some people want to text you, some people want an email, some people just want to log into a web portal. And those are the kind of things that we solve for.
I just wanted to jump in and say, again, if 40 to 45% of all of your payments are not agentless, then right now might be a really good time, especially ahead of tax season, when people are thinking about, hey, I'm going to pay my debt off, right? I'm going to get this big tax return. I'm going to pay my account off that I've had past due for the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. It might be time to look at your self-service options, right? What does your website look like? And are you getting the type of return from your online infrastructure? Do you have different channels available? Can a customer text you? Can they email you? Can they message you on WhatsApp or Facebook or iMessage for Business? Can they communicate with you in 10 different ways, 24/7, around the clock, 365, to take care of their balance with you? Most of the payments that we see collected for lenders come in after the lender has already gone home for the day. So looking at those things would really help them maximize overall performance over the next couple of months. It can have an immediate benefit looking at those bullet points there.
Yeah, I think that's some great information there. I mean, and it seems like the communication channel in getting outside of just email and phone calls is definitely going to be key. Well, Jordan and Todd, I know this is your busy season, so I do appreciate the time that you guys took today. So anything you want to wrap up with real quick?
No, thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us. We really appreciate the opportunity. Hope that all your lenders collect a ton of money this tax season and that they hit all new records. I know the lenders that we're working with, that's the story that we hear day in and day out. And we hope the same is true for those of you watching this webinar. So thank you from my side.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jordan. And everyone, that was, I think, a really great start to this webinar. I'm pretty excited. That was some solid content on collections. So stay tuned. We got 2 more coming. Next, let me welcome Kirby Miller, Chief Revenue Officer with VoApps. Kirby, thank you for joining us today as we explore a wonderful world of collection. How you doing, Kirby?
Thanks so much, Mike.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's spend a minute or so explaining what is VoApps and what your company does.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mike. Yeah, VoApps is indeed our company, and our core product is Direct Drop Voicemail. Direct Drop Voicemail, it automates the task of delivering a voicemail to mobile phones and to consumers who have mobile phones. So from a call center perspective, in lieu of call center agents manually dialing 15 to 20 numbers an hour and leaving that same voicemail over and over, on behalf of our clients, VoApps can deliver tens of thousands of voicemails in a matter of minutes, driving traffic to your payment portal or turning your outbound call center into an inbound collection center for our collections department. From a customer experience, it's fantastic. Nobody likes getting robocalls or calls that come to their phone and they're caught off guard, maybe with their friends around them or family members around, and somebody telling them, hey, you have a past due balance. That can be embarrassing. Seamlessly just gives them that voicemail notification, which they can listen to, or transcriptions on the phone today. They can read that and get back to resolving that balance when the time is convenient for them.
Okay, exciting stuff. I know talking to a bunch of my lenders and customers, collection season can be a little stressful, dealing with staffing, coming off the busy season. Does VoApps help any with staffing? I think you mentioned it a little bit already.
I mean, we do. It's the number one problem really that we solve for our clients is just mitigating the outbound, the manual outbound component of the call center job. In September and November, we're scrambling on the lending side to help folks staff up for that. But right now, we're approaching tax season. It's a busy time for us because instead of the collections group of the lender side hiring 10 to 15 people to cover them for the next 3 months, they can bring in VoApps. We have new clients up and running in a day or two, and we can be delivering those outbound notifications on their behalf rather than paying somebody to do the same thing. We do it at a fraction of the cost. Call center agent, and we don't take PTO days either.
Okay, yeah, we'll see. All right, Rod. So changing pace a little bit. What do my customers and lenders need to be aware of regarding compliance with dealing with collections? I know that's a giant concern for them, and you guys are big players in the collection industry. What have you seen? What should they be looking at?
The big piece to first identify is what's the rules and regulations, what's the terms and conditions of the loan. When it's a past due balance in-house with that same creditor, most folks use collections, first and third party collections rules as a guideline, but certainly if the balances are placed outside of the creditor, it is of utmost importance, and it's necessary to follow the collections rules that are set forth. Big one is the FDCPA, which was further been clarified in November 2021 by the CFPB via Reg F. That also covers what outbound contact channels can be used and how they can be used. There's tracking mechanisms that need to occur. You can contact consumers a certain time, a certain number of times within a given window. That's outlined in Reg F, so I'd point to that. Within that, VoApps and direct drop voicemail falls as identified as an attempt to communicate. And then the other piece with any outbound calling, but certainly collections is no exception to it, is going to be the TCPA. Put simply, if you have consent to call, you can deliver a direct drop voicemail. But it's TCPA, that's overseen by the FCC, and then Reg F, that's the CFPB.
Whew, that's a lot to unpack regarding compliance. There's a lot of abbreviations there too. So definitely a scary situation. Any resources that lenders can get help with in compliance and collection?
It's a good question. My background comes from financial service. It comes from the online lending world, and that's what I was focused in, where I needed to get up to speed on collections very quickly because I oversaw a collections team in online lending. And then I've also, got to know a lot more about first and third party collections as well. What I'd strongly suggest any folks listening who want more information on collections is I point them to ACA International. It's an advocacy group and trade organization promoting how to, resolve balances in a customer-friendly manner, and certainly doing it by the book of rules and regulations set forth by our governments.
Okay. All right. Well, that's enough compliance talk here. So let's get back into the fun part. How can lenders make more money during this collection?
How can they make more money? It's automating. It's getting those notifications out to the consumers. I truly feel that consumers, they want to pay their debts. They want to resolve their balances. But the challenge is how to get a friendly notification out to them. That's what we help with. It's a challenge for lenders today to get those notifications out. We have new clients up and running in a day or two, and we get those notifications, have a direct impact on liquidation rates, dollars collected. And what's really cool is in doing that on the collection side, it keeps the account in good standing so that consumer can come back in and get a loan down the road if they need it from that same lender.
Okay, well, that's good. I know a big part of our industry is keeping our good customers happy. And so the more good customers you have, the better your portfolio will be. So again, thank you, Kirby, for taking some time out of your busy collection season. And we appreciate you joining the call today.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, everyone, that was Kirby Miller with VoApps. So some very interesting stuff there. And theme is developing here is that automating is really the key during the collection season.
All right, everyone, we have reached our last segment of this webinar. Pretty exciting stuff. Let me welcome in Dennis Fish, COO with the IM Group. Dennis, how you doing today?
I'm great, Mike. How are you this afternoon?
Wonderful. Hey, Dennis, tell me a little bit about the IM Group and the role that it plays in assisting lenders with their collection strategies.
Yeah, so at its core, IM Group Marketing is a customer communications firm, right? So we specialize in working with our clients on crafting not only the right message, but also using the right medium for that message. And we do that to support all aspects of our clients' business, whether it's customer acquisition, whether it's customer service, whether it's customer collections, and everything else in between. So what we do with our clients is that we help them take, particularly in the collections world, right? So we like to help our clients to take a little bit of a different approach. Oftentimes, particularly in the deep subprime world, collections is just purely a dunning approach, right? It's, hey, you owe me money. Let's get that payment in. We help our clients take a different approach based on customer history with them, cycle of delinquency, what's been the pattern for that particular customer, and just overall an approach that says, we want to work with you, not against you, to help make good on this payment so that hopefully you can continue to be a good customer in the future.
Okay, no, that's awesome. So, I mean, that's very interesting. So let's dive a little bit deeper in here. Talk for a moment about your thoughts on how lenders can better leverage written communication, I guess, in their overall messaging strategy, to get better payment results.
Right. So as I mentioned, one of the things the first thing that we try to do is focus on the messaging, right? So we want to be able to craft messages that are going to be readable by the consumer, right? With any, I learned one thing in college, right? All those years ago, all that money, I learned only one thing, but it's still relevant, right? And that's that communication doesn't work unless your message is not only said, but received and understood, right? So too many times we're just sending out messages and we're not getting that acknowledgement that the customer has seen it, heard it, and understood it, and then reacted to it. And so with any communication, it's about getting that acceptance. So what's going to be accepted more, the, hey, you need money, or the, hey, we're here to work with you message? And so we have found time and again that in the subprime and deep subprime world, that messaging that tells a consumer that, all is not lost here, right? You're not going to go to charge off. We're not going to suspend future borrowing activity.
Okay.
We understand the position you're in, right? We lent you money because we understand that you are, as a consumer, periodically in and out of financial difficulty. And so let's make sure that we work with that consumer all the way through and let them know that if they can make a payment or come up with a payment arrangement, we can continue to work with them in the future. Then the second part of that is the medium, right? We communicate so heavily with consumers electronically that, the concept of cutting through the clutter has really shifted from the mailbox over to the electronic medium, whether it's text or whether it's email. Where, consumers are just bombarded with electronic messaging. And oftentimes that letter, it conveys a little bit of a different level of severity, of importance. It's a better opportunity to convey that message of how you're going to work with the consumer. So we tend to have better open rates for our messaging. And then once we can get that open rate, once we can get them to see the message, we can get them to react and act the way that we want them to.
No, that's it's very intriguing. I know you can't give away any secret sauce, but is there any little more specific strategy that you have seen work?
Sure. So one of the best is, and I throw this out to everybody. It's kind of like our free one, right? Everybody gets one free idea. But consumers will react oftentimes. When times are difficult, they're starting to rob Peter to pay Paul to make sure that life can continue going. And so one of the bills that consumers will often wait until the very last moment to pay is their utilities. Many utility companies, in fact, I haven't really surveyed them, but I'm going to say most utility companies use a brightly colored envelope when they're sending out a disconnect notice. Consumers know that. Consumers see that envelope, and just by the color of their envelope, it's like, okay, now it's time to pay attention. I need to take care of this, and then the other bills will wait. And so just changing up the color of that envelope or even the size of the envelope a little bit makes the consumer realize this is something a little bit different. This is something I've seen before and something I need to read because they're about to do something that I don't want to happen. So that's just one strategy. Other things that we're going back to, just kind of holding that carrot out there, making sure the customer knows that, many lenders entice consumers to open a loan with them by saying, hey, look, our best customers can borrow more money, bigger loans, better terms in the future. Let's make sure that people know that path is still there. even if they slip up a little ways, right? They don't have to go to another lender to start down that path. So letting them know that the reasons why they first opened a loan with a particular lender, those things are still out there for them.
Okay, awesome. Any metrics you have? Anything that, what type of success a client could see from this type of program?
Whether it's mail or whether these messages are sent in text form or email form, the cost bases are different across the different media. But what we really focus on is that, that initial engagement rate, whether it's an email open rate or, being able to track whether or not a consumer, received your mail piece or started to engage with it to get that message. That's really what we're focused on tracking. And we'll typically see that our messaging approach is getting a 3 to 3.5 times, times the engagement rate, right? So we're engaging with about 3.5 times more consumers than a typical and traditional dunning approach. Where the rubber really meets the road then is training the lender reps on how to best handle that, making sure that message that we've given in the letter or the email is consistent, right? Not just with the words or not just supporting the programs that are out there, but make sure they're calling into a friendly environment, right? The minute that customer calls and starts to hit that wall, that traditional wall they hit that just says, I'm going to get your payment. I'm not hanging this phone up until I get your payment. Yeah. That's going to start to backfire. So making sure that staff is really trained on the entire concept of working with this consumer is going to amplify those results tremendously.
Okay. No, that is definitely great advice. So if I'm a lender or servicer out there and, haven't been doing a great job on collections, is there any steps that the IM group can take to help a lender revitalize their collection efforts?
Yeah. So the first thing that we want to be able to do is kind of have an open conversation. It's just sort of open the books a little bit about, what have you been doing? What works? What doesn't work? Let's talk about, those points, the current points of contact, where you're making those points of contact. And let's take a look at sort of what that customer journey looks like. How often do they naturally go in and out of delinquency without really any prodding at all? And then we're just going to, we also want to take a look at what those messages are. And then we're going to come in and we're going to overlay, either changes or in some cases, a completely new collection strategy. We try to keep things simple. We've created automated processes just to take an API feed that tell us, simply what communication piece comes in. We build out this matrix with our clients to say at 30 days delinquency or 30 days second time delinquent, you're going to kick out a certain communication letter, and here's the method. We simply take that data in an API feed and we execute on it on our end. Again, whether it's text, whether it's email, whether it's a piece of written correspondence, even if it's a post-charge-off legal letter that has to go certified mail, we can execute on that within 24 hours of getting that API feed and instruction. So we make it simple for our clients. We build an automated system that then just goes, and then we make sure that we have the ability to do some testing around that, some message testing, some maybe split, message or creative testing to make sure that we're always trying to make sure that we're getting that best readership possible.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Dennis, I appreciate your time today. I think the lenders and servicers that watch this will definitely find this information valuable. So I definitely appreciate your time today, Dennis.
Thank you, Mike, and we certainly look forward to being able to help any of your platform users really optimize their collection efforts.
Awesome, I appreciate it. All right, everyone, that was the last one. Dennis Fish with IM Group with some awesome information there. There's been a lot of great content to share today about collection. I would like to thank TotalCollectR, VoApps, and IM Group for taking time today to help LendSuite customers make more money during the collection season and throughout the entire year. Again, thank you for taking time to watch this webinar, and I hope it helps your business run just a little bit better in 2023.